Hello there, hello there, hello there. I hope I'm not way too noisy. I'm still working around different audio issues here. But I hope you can hear me just fine. I'm gonna be mixing things live. Welcome to the stream, which is an unusual stream. I'm not gonna be playing anything today. We're going to be chatting. You are more than welcome to join in and chat. Hello there to everybody in the chat as well. I'm actually going to click a few buttons just to make sure this is working okay. It seems to be. It seems to be. So, in case you're jumping in because of potential Fight Club, I just wanted to tell you that Fight Club will be happening. The second episode of the second season will be taking place in around fingers, and it's like 3, so that's actually not 48 but 72. But then we have to add some extra hours, so this is 24, 48, 72, and then we add 2, so around in 74 hours from now. Well, actually, no, wait, confusion, 76 hours from now, more or less. 76 hours from now, we should be starting the first game in Fight Club episode 2, at the very least. Of course, for this to happen, it will have to be Friday, so yeah, you have to be a bit more patient. But today, and this is gonna be maybe a first of a few, we'll see. Maybe the last. No, but I'm kidding. I am by no means an expert when it comes to the game, so I really do hope that people in the chat, or people on Discord, or people on Slack, who do exist there as well, will just pop up and say, hey, well, actually, and this is my opinion and whatnot. And I'm inviting you straight away right now to participate in this discussion. I'm going to be quoting people from the chat. You can also read most of the time the chat on the screen. And we will be talking today about probably the biggest thing to have happened to the competitive scene of Netrunner, or to the standard format, which is the backbone of the competitive Netrunner scene at this moment. Which is, you guessed it, the standard ban list 20.06 or 06 or 20.06. Well, you can pronounce it in many different ways, and you might be wondering, okay, standard ban list, what do you mean? It's like, indeed, we used to have the most wanted list, which is a really cool name. It is a really cool name. I really liked it. Everybody liked it. It's a cool thing. It just works when you talk about it. The most wanted list, the cards you would really want to play, but you just can't because they're banned or restricted or whatever. So that has been the case for a long time. Afternoon, Baramu, welcome to stream. That has been the case for a long time, and the most wanted list has been going on for quite a while. We've reached version 3.4b. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, because all the numbers were of course changing, but that was the version we were using until very recently. Well, it's still in effect for a few days, but it's gonna change quite soon, officially, for the standard ban list. So generally, I hope I clicked the right button right now, because if I click the wrong button, this is going to be the most ridiculous. This is going to be the most ridiculous mistake in the history of streaming on Twitch, at least mine. So generally, what happened yesterday is Nisei published a certain update, and this is the reaction of many people online reading this, including myself, I guess. Basically, this is the image that was used for the post as the thumbnail, and I kind of feel like the person depicted in here, looking at the fancy holographic, almost semi-transparent, whatever screen. And yeah, that was the reaction. And you, of course, could be going like, well, this person is very emotional, but are these tears of joy or tears of despair? Or what's going on? Are these tears of rage, or are these tears of, you know, what are the tears about? And I think this is exactly why the stream today is gonna have hopefully your participation as well. It's gonna have my thoughts, and it's gonna be basically a walkthrough through the whole list. So we're gonna go through the standard ban list, and in order to facilitate this, obviously I should make sure I have it on the screen. And yeah, in preparation for this, I was wondering, yeah, maybe I should be doing, you know, something different. Maybe I should be doing something special. Maybe I should be pulling things up on the screen. But you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna start with this. Exactly. So this is a document, and I'm actually gonna pull it up again. Sorry, I don't want to be super messy around here. But yeah, this is by Ben. I nearly forgot already. Where are my notes? This is by Ben/Solenstorm, one of the members of the playtesting group for Nisei. So this is a volunteer group of people. Oh, I pulled up the wrong thing, sorry. See, there we go. Group of people working on basically making sure that the game is balanced when new cards come in, that the most wanted list or the standard ban list as it stands for you right now. It is, you know, interesting, attractive, fun to see. It is something you are looking forward to put into practice, put into play. It is something worth competing with or alongside, so to speak, because you're going to be using this as your point of reference for the foreseeable future in the standard meta, which, as like I already mentioned, is the backbone of the competitive side of Netrunner, where we of course have all the different tournaments organized around it. The face of someone who just logically bumped into a server protected by Prisec, and this is why you play Citadel, Sanctuary, and Atom. Absolutely. Both Anarcho Mushroom and Cable Carnage, they're absolutely correct. I absolutely agree. Great commentary on the side. So what we can see here is generally the most concise way of explaining without too many details, you know. And I was wondering, like, maybe I should do some cool graphics, like with arrows and some animations, maybe even, and so on. But then I just realized that's too much of a mess to explain something that's fairly straightforward. And I think Ben /Solenstorm, so Solenstorm here, did a very, very, very great job of just, you know, putting together the most important bits and pieces of the update. And then we're gonna go through the Nisei article as well, the one explaining all those changes and discussing them, because it's kind of a hot topic. So it will be a hot topic for a while, I guess. So a disclaimer here first. I've been involved with Nisei for quite a while, as a member of the organized play team, and then as a production coordinator, whatever that means. But like generally, I've been a member of Nisei with information reaching me probably very often faster than many people in the community about certain decisions, about certain options, about certain moves and whatnot, and so on. And of course, I have my own opinions about things, but today I'm talking as a non-Nisei member, so to speak. So let's forget about me being a part of Nisei. This is not a Nisei stream. If it was a Nisei stream, it would be on the Nisei account on Twitch. This is me on my private account talking about things from my private perspective as a player. So generally, and again, to continue the disclaimer, I haven't been involved in any way whatsoever with the testing for the changes or with any of playtesting of any other cards that might be coming up in the future. So for anything new that Nisei might be releasing as well. I may have seen some of the proposal for the cards and so on. I may have heard some of the proposals for the MWL, but I really was not in any way whatsoever involved in this process and any decisions and so on. This is not to take any possible blame away from me. This is to give credit to all the people who have been working really hard behind the scene and behind the stage, in the back there somewhere, behind the smoke screen, trying to get the ban list, the standard ban list, into a format, into a shape that is making anything happening after the 26th, I believe, or actually no, after the 20th, well, and 20th, excuse me, right, the 20th of what's his name, June. So any standard games in the Nisei format, in the Nisei standard format, excuse me, all those games should be using this new ban list as a guideline, as the thing to look up to and the thing to check your decks against. So all the people working, on the MWL committee, in the OP team, in the development team, like in all the different bits and pieces of and fragments and corners of Nisei that were involved in deciding about cards being either just banned or just made legal, because that's the biggest change. I think we're going to be talking about it in a second. all those people, this is where the credit goes. I'm just going to be babbling here as a civilian and as a person that really honestly had no idea how this is going to look, and I had no involvement in that process. So huge thanks to everybody playtesting just tirelessly, I guess, because the amount of cards and the amount of combinations and the amount of possible, you know, plays and angles and so on is kind of big in this game, as we all know. So getting this into a final shape that Nisei as an organization could share with people in the community and just say, okay, let's see this, let's have this out, let's have this working, was a huge chunk of work, and I really do appreciate everybody's involvement in this. The playtesting team will probably, you know, step up and discuss things a bit more like they did with the last MWLs as well. You know, discussing certain choices and so on and so forth. So you might probably expect people from the MWL team popping up as well and just saying, yeah, okay, let's have an article about this, or let's explain this a bit further. Of course, we shouldn't be forgetting that a lot of this work was happening while we had a big, nasty, evil, still out there, by the way, virus that cannot be, you know, just purged with 3 clicks. So there was quite a lot of chaos and pressure around the world put on everybody's shoulders. So these folks just, you know, working on this, they may have taken a bit extra time as well to finish. But I think this being volunteer, it's a volunteer job, so to speak, or it's a volunteer task for fun. Because let's be honest, we're talking about a fun game that everybody should be enjoying when they play it, right? So making a decision here and there should probably not spoil anybody's game, I guess. But then again, we all know how much we are invested into this game. So do expect a lot of discussions online. Do expect a lot of people thinking different things. I'm pretty sure everybody will be kind to each other discussing this because we're talking about cards. We're not talking about personal preferences, you know. So this is all about certain cards being nice and certain cards not being nice to the way you play. And without further ado, I'm gonna hop over into actually discussing what exactly it is that happened with the most wanted list, which is no longer the most wanted list. It is actually the ban list, the standard ban list 20.06 or 06 or whichever. And the biggest change in general in the way the list works, and I think personally, I'm going to keep repeating this personally because this is just my position here. I think this is a good thing. The Nisei article posted by Michael Papadopoulos also explains this, the kind of the thinking behind this decision. But from my personal point of view, yeah, this definitely makes the game much easier to navigate whenever it comes to creating decks. I always had issues with restricted cards and unicorns, and as much as the unicorns, are a lovely icon in Netrunner DB, let's be honest, they're probably the best visual element of Netrunner DB. And if you think something different, I respect you, but I don't think you're right. Well, okay, kidding. Of course I'm kidding. But yeah, so the unicorn cards, while cool and everything, I always had to keep them in the back of my mind whenever playing somebody. And then you would have to see the restricted card popping up, and I would be like, okay, is this the restricted card? I don't remember. So actually I went as far as to printing the restricted list and bringing with me to tournaments, you know, not maybe with the images of the cards, but just basically a text file, or actually, well, I had a text file that I was updating, but then it got a bit smaller, so I could just also handwrite it. Like, you know, I kept a list of this, and I was referring to it quite often because my memory for the whole card pool is not that good, which many of you will know watching my streams. I always rely on everybody's hive mind to prop me up, and I'm very grateful for that. And this ban list is making things so much easier. Basically, all the cards you see played are okay. that's you know, there are no other there's no there's no catch in here. There's no special counting of anything else other than influence. If you see an illegal card, that just means that the deck is illegal, and you know that's basically it. If you see cards being played, you're like, okay, I can assume that my opponent knows the ban list, and they're just using legal cards only, right? So that's it. If you're playing any other format that is out there, and there's quite a few of them, of course, then that's totally on your, you know, you have to be on your own, prepared and ready, and you can use, of course, any help you might need, you know, any player aids like printouts, whatever, what have you. Some people used to bring cards, you know, the restricted cards actually separately put together to remember which cards are restricted, like the physical cards. That was also a very cool idea. But for now, standard, you know, once the ban list goes into effect, yeah, that's basically it. You either play the card or you don't. So the biggest change, I think, is this, to be honest. Certain cards coming into the game, certain cards coming out of the game, for ever so far, like, you know, like kind of completely banned, is of course a big deal for certain factions, is of course a big deal for certain play styles, and we're going to be going through this as well and talking about that. But yeah, this very simple binary, if you will, difference between a banned card and a legal card, for me personally, as a player, it's just great. Like, I'm just loving this. This is great. I really am happy that this actually was tested. So once again, thank you so much, all the testers at Nisei, for just, you know, seeing that this actually works. You did an awesome piece of work here. This document by Solemn Storm, and the whole article by Michael Papadopoulos, and the list posted, you know, of the banned cards only already on the page. This has generated a lot of discussion already. We had Greg, the previous developer for Nisei, you know, for Ashes and so on, already building decks on Reddit as well. So I think people are very excited about it for different reasons, and I think that's great. This is exactly what a lot of us have been waiting for. Basically a change. And now, okay, yeah, without further ado, because of course I'm running out of time here, I want to finish the stream today, obviously. But let's talk about it. And here I'm just going to be very quickly, again, throwing in a disclaimer. By no means I'm an expert when it comes to discussing cards, so by all means, please chat, be critical of what I'm talking about, be noisy about it, do write in the chat what you think. I need you to voice your opinions. This is, you know, your voice is as important in this today as is mine, of course. I have the microphone, but actually, if you want to join, if you want to jump in, if you want to hop into Discord and chat with me with voice, if you have Discord, do let me know in the chat. I'm more than happy to invite you to my private server, of course. Well, I'm kidding, of course, but like, it's not that private, it's just a Discord server. But generally, if you don't have access there yet because you haven't been a guest on the stream just yet, you're more than welcome to just say, hey, yeah, I have some things to say. Just please wait until I get to maybe a point where I go through my first impressions. But if you feel like you want to join in, let me know, you know, even now, and we'll figure it out, because it will be, of course, mixed live and direct. So that'll be quite an interesting challenge from the editing side of things, live editing. But yeah, okay, so let's go through the cards. And I'm not going to be talking much about the Corp and Runner cards that have been removed from the game and now they're banned, because that actually doesn't change anything in the meta right now, or if it does so because of different reasons, because of other cards being actually banned or made legal as well. But many of the cards that you see here on this page, you know, 24/7 News Cycle, the likes of Team Wekundu or MTI, the likes of Employee Strike, which was, again, of course it was a current, it was removed and now it's banned. Well, you know, all currents are gone, so of course it would go. The likes of Blue Moose, which is such an amazing card in many different ways. If you see Blue Moose in draft, go for it, right? But yeah, all these cards, they didn't matter for standard, and they won't matter for standard anymore right now. And I think it's important to also point out here that the people at Nisei responsible for the ban list, for putting it together and so on, and playtesting it, they will be keeping an eye out on the results of upcoming tournaments, obviously. It has been very hard to have a clear idea of what the meta's like, other than online tournaments in the last few months, for obvious reasons. for because of the pandemic and so on. So it was a bit easier in a way to gather results because everything was happening online. So a lot of stuff landed on Cobra or on Always Be Running straight away. But also there were not that many events happening. We tried as a community to have as many events as possible, and that was great. But of course, it was a slightly smaller amount of events. There were no GNKs happening much. Many tournaments, many bigger events that were meant to happen, they were already planned. They had to be cancelled or postponed. The whole season in a way suffered. So data to feed this list was maybe a bit incomplete, and this is why exactly the MWL or the SBL team, they have to figure out the new name now, I guess. If Michael Papadopoulos is listening to this, Mike, if you're listening to this, we need a new team name. I don't know, the band team, the Banhammer team, the Banhammers. I don't know. You'll come up with something, I guess, right? So anyway, this list will be evaluated as time goes by, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that the cards that were removed in the old version and are banned in the new version, not much is gonna change in that respect. But let's look at the corp cards that actually were restricted and are coming back. So we have 4 entries here. We have Biotics Association, a Jinteki card, Global Food Initiative that everybody knows, neutral card, agenda 5-3. But worth only 2 points for the runner, 1 influence, and so on. I should be also, of course, putting up the cards on the screen, but you know them, right? Mamba Temple, so the card that gives you money to raise other cards. And Obokata Protocol, probably the most defining Jinteki agenda in the last year and a half, 2 years of standard play, I guess. Bandsmiths, that's a very good name. The Humanity Hammers, yeah. This is, all lovely names. But Mike P and the crew will have to choose something, I guess, or maybe they will just keep the MWL team. I don't know. It's an internal name anyway, so who knows? But yeah, all those four cards, they actually, and you will notice here, 2 of them are from Jinteki and 2 of them are neutral. Whampoa Reclamation, which was restricted and now is banned, and that's discussed in the article as well. That we're gonna go to as well. We're gonna look at the page as well. But that's a neutral card as well. So those 4 restricted cards coming back, they do actually prop Jinteki a bit. For which reasons? Bioethics, of course, damage. Obokata Protocol becoming legal, I think, is a big thing personally, as a person that likes to play Jinteki. Because now you don't have to, make choices. You can actually have GFI, so Global Food Initiatives, and Obokata Protocols in the same deck. Yummy. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what people cook up. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people, yesterday, once the article landed, were already like, okay, yeah, Netrunner DB, I know I have to do other things, but let me just make check. What do I do? Oh, this is a cool deck. I'm going to try it out soon. And this is exactly what we needed. This is an injection of freshness, of new gaming or of a new meta or of a new gaming meta and of new conditions to play and requirements to play this game in Standard. Now, the big things here on the previously legal and currently banned, and again, we're going to be going through the article by Nisei in a second to see what Nisei is explaining about this, like why certain cards are banned, and maybe to discuss it a bit in more length. Oh yeah, Cable Carnage, very good point. Usually Global Food Initiative and Obokata is a non-bo, as in a non-combo, unless you play it in Harmony. And exactly, it's possible, right? So who knows what's gonna happen? I don't know. Punitive Counter-Strike in PE, for example, that's never a bad idea, or is it? I don't know. Well, anyway, it's way too fresh for me, at least, to say, yeah, there are viable builds out there that are going to smash everything. And we're going to go to Greg's post on Reddit as well, later on today, to just take a look at it. There is some theory crafting, or actually not theory crafting, very practical crafting of what could be played with the new SBL over there, and we're going to be talking about this as well. And I am absolutely 1,000,000,000% sure that people who stream a lot of Netrunner online, so Andre from Metropole Grid, Code Marvelous from Self-Modifying Code, everybody who's streaming Netrunner online will have one segment or another. And I really wish we had, the old greats, or the great olds, so to speak, among us, like Willingdon, who always did amazing videos analyzing the meta and so on, and I really loved that content. But yeah, I mean, you know, not everybody is still creating content, but people who are creating content for Netrunner, I'm pretty sure they will be discussing this one way or another. It will be discussed positively, negatively, with excitement, with utmost fear and doom and terror. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you know, it's good. It's new reactions, right? So going back to what I was saying 3 minutes ago. On the legal turning into banned, I think the biggest things are, and I promise, and this is why I made the disclaimer already, and I'm gonna make the disclaimer one more time, I was in no way involved with this, just because I hate a certain Asmari edtech build, or 2 of them, or 3 of them, doesn't mean that I was like, we have to ban Asmari. I may have written ban Asmari somewhere, to certain people at some point as a very emotional reaction to whatever I have seen or been experiencing in a tournament or 2. However, this was a group decision. This was all the testers. This was a lot of people looking at the data. This was a lot of people thinking about it. And Asmari Epic as an ID, and this is again mentioned in the Nisei article, it's going away. So same for Gagarin actually, and this is the other ID being banned. So that's a big thing. Some people also say that what was the name? Soul News, right? Yeah. The NBN identity that relies on currents being replayed, that actually is technically speaking not playable because of currents going away, which is absolutely true. But then again, it's there still as an ID. I mean, I don't know why you would play it, but it's there. So putting on a banned list would be a bit weird, but then again, maybe there should be a community-made list of cards you should potentially not play because it doesn't really make sense. And there's probably a cool acronym for this. Hey Longi, now I cannot use the amazing Asmari ID made by Yakuza. That is very true, but you can actually play Asmari in Eternal, I think, right? Like, that kind of makes sense, right? You could totally play it in Eternal. So, yeah. So Asmari is gone from Standard, but you can also have an Asmari-only tournament. Like, everybody plays Asmari and then everybody plays decks against Asmari. I think that would be quite cool. And we've seen Asmari beaten several times, at least on streams, for different reasons. But honestly, it's a very oppressive build. It's a very efficient, mean, terrible corporate deck to play against. And as such, the idea is going away. All the cards that make the deck, though, they're still there. So you can totally play... maybe Scarcity of Resources is not going to be the rule. I'm so sorry. But, all the other cards minus Scarcity of Resources, they're still there. So you can play the Asmari deck not in Asmari. You could, for example, use it in Soul. That's totally legal, right? Of course the deck size would have to be a bit different in this one, but you can tweak it, it's totally possible. The other thing being Gagarin going away, and Gagarin, I don't know if this means that Wayland can no longer into space. I mean, we still have Jemison Astronautics, which is also spacey quite a bit, it's space oriented and whatnot. I think the space theme might be developed further in future cards, in future sets as well, coming your way at some point this year and the next. Again, I have no idea, but I think it's such a cool theme, I mean, Wayland has built up everything they could everywhere, and they're still destroying the bits and pieces of nature left in certain corners of the planet. But, there's all of space to be conquered and turned into profitable enterprises, right? So Wayland's definitely going out there. They still have to visit that one planetoid or whatever that was, that little LV-416, was it? Or 426, right? They'll still need to send a ship there to fetch a certain life form and so on. So, all that has to happen, so we have to keep going in that direction as well. So Wayland will definitely remain in space and keep going, but not with Gagarin anymore. So you can forget about paying 1 extra credit for accessing remotes. But you, of course, you still have IDs that are space related. You still have IDs that make it hard for you to get into remotes. I'm not going to name these IDs because they were on my private ban list for some reasons as well. But my private ban list is in no way related to the standard ban list, which we're talking about today. What else is going away, and why, for example, Obokata Protocol is made legal, fully legal, as in not restricted? Breach Dome and Kakugo are going away, and this is, some people could say that this is a huge hit to JNet, to Jinteki. What am I even talking about? I keep confusing them again. So to Jinteki as the corporation, as the faction. And I would say yes, but then again I would say, well, you know, I've seen very good, very cool Saraswati mnemonics decks, and actually we've seen also well, Palana decks being built up there that really didn't rely on Kakugo or Breach Dome as such, maybe more on Obokata protocols as the 3-pointers. But yeah, it is a huge hit for the typical Jinteki Corp. That is true. Cable Carnage agreed as well. But that probably is not going to make Jinteki totally unplayable or totally unviable. We'll see. Personally, I am very sad that Kakugo is going away because it was one of my favorite cards, because it's just mean, and I like being mean as the Corp, because Corps should be mean. Breach Dome, I kind of liked because of it being the substitute for Shock, which was the previous ambush asset that just basically zapped you for 1 damage. I liked the way it played. I really liked the meat damage it gave. It was making things problematic for the turtle, and we can talk about the turtle a bit later when we get to the runner parts of things. But yeah, it is gone for now. And again, we'll see. And this is of course also highlighted in the Nisei article, whether these 2 cards going away from the Jinteki card pool will actually make things much harder for the Corp. I would say Jinteki's got a lot of cool toys still out there to play with. We have a shipment from Tenin. Oh yeah, I didn't mention that. Shipment from Tenin. And yeah, this is a card that I'm actually going to pull this up right now. And let me just go. Yeah, so this is it. Breach Dome, Kakugo, and Shipment from Tenin banned. So I was a bit sad about Shipment from Tenin going away. But you have the explanation here. So basically it's all about PE or personal evolution, Jinteki personal evolution, being a bit too much for people to handle, apparently because of this combo. So yeah, those 3 cards together were kind of making things very, very hard for runners interacting with this particular type of PE. And I cannot agree or disagree with the statement. I can only just say, yeah, okay, this is what, you know, this is what we're addressing here by this change, and I totally trust the folks deciding here, and we'll see how this shakes out. But you know, what has Shipment from Tenin ever done to anybody? That's the thing, right? It's such a good card. It's such a you have to run card, and against Jinteki you really have to run. You really are afraid to run. Therefore, Jinteki will have some tools to make you run. Even though if you don't want to, you know, you better run, because otherwise Shipment from Tenin happens. So maybe this is a bit too oppressive, and I'm okay with seeing how things work out for Jinteki without Shipment from Tenin. Especially since if we want to keep the binary nature of the new ban list, so banned or legal and nothing else in between, yeah, okay, if Shipment from Tenin has proven to be problematic, banning it for now makes perfect sense. I hopefully would like to see, personally, please, Shipment from Tenin coming back at some point, maybe, without Kakugo, without Breach Dome. But of course, we'll see how things shape up after SBL 2006 goes into effect, and maybe after a month or 2 or 3 of competitive play, some changes will be made. I don't know. Again, this is just me fantasizing. I have no idea what they're gonna be working on and how in the nearest future. Or if I know, I cannot spoil it to you, so I'm just going to shut up about this. But yeah, Shipment from Tenin would be cool to have. Just saying, you know, sniff sniff. Just saying that, you know, if anyone is listening there, please take notes and pass them over to the people from the team. Well, anyway, I can actually do it myself as well, but you know, it's always good to have a lot of voices. Anyway, scarcity of resources and all the other currents, obviously, as well. But scarcity of resources. This is a card that has been, I think it's a card that has been, well, how to put it? It's a current, first of all, and currents are. I think this is the part of the write-up here that I really, really liked, because to me it's quite complete in a way. So it's all explained here, basically how you can deal with currents as the corp and as the runner. And the thing is, with scarcity of resources, it goes into the hardest category, or kind of category 4 current, which is, yeah, you either have an answer ready for it or you lose. Basically, I think scarcity of resources was, in a way, the employee strike almost on the corp side. So employee strike, of course, you may remember this, basically switched the corp ability off until it was removed from play by an anti-current effect or a different current. And that was it, and many corps suffered from this immensely. Scarcity of resources basically annihilated a certain archetype, or not even an archetype, because resources are one of the main types of cards in the game. It's not a very particular subtype in any way, it's just, no, resources are something that many runners in many different builds would be using. Of course, some resources would be better for card draw, some would be better for damage protection, some would be better for drip economy, different options, and resources have proven to be very versatile. And here we had this one single card that was just, just saying, I'm very happy you have resources, you're going to be paying extra, and probably you don't have the money because 2 credits is kind of a bit of a swing, so you will be suffering a lot from this. So scarcity of resources going away, same way as corporate gap is going on the runner side. Generally, good thing. It's a good thing. It's a great thing, I think. And if you've been playing in lockdown tournaments, if you've been playing in different other custom events that were just saying, yeah, you know what, let's just not play certain cards, even if it's just a gentle person's agreement, or if this is just, we're just outright banning certain cards, not even all currents, just like scarcity of resources out, apocalypse out. That meant, it was shaping the meta a bit differently straight away, but now you will be able to enjoy the lack of the scarcity of resources in standard, just basically like that, as a default. And this is great. I'm really looking forward to not having to dread this card as a runner, where I want to play a certain deck and then this comes down turn 1 or 2 and I'm like, okay, so the corp will be able to rush things out probably, or just money up into like cosmic proportions of credits on their side, and I will just be here dirt poor trying to, put a few cards together to maybe try and contest the server, or maybe try and still have one agenda and get whacked into dust by the corp's credit advantage and so on. So scarcity of resources going away, not a bad thing at all. Perfect. And all the other currents going away. And this is, of course, you might be going like, okay, so why is scarcity of resources especially mentioned here, and then you have all other currents? Because I think this was one of the pain cards that many people were just saying, please do something with it. And there you go. So really looking forward to a standard format without scarcity of resources. We're not going to go into all the other currents because, they're not a super long list, but the likes of Death and Taxes, for example, or Door to Door, or there's a few AHB currents as well, the names of which I don't remember, but they were not bad in any way, or destroying the game, but the mechanic itself, having been substituted by the lockdown subtype now, it wasn't a bad idea. And I was actually thinking about currents the other day, how they could be reverted in a way, and maybe I'll talk about it at some other point, or bring up the idea with somebody just to see if we could make some experiments on the side, just for fun, not to influence the standard meta in any way. But yeah, as the currents we've had in the way they were to be played according to the rules and so on, yeah, I'm really looking forward to a non-current world. You've seen it in lockdown as well. Currents were banned starting from, that was basically the 2nd edition already, right? Yeah, when we banned currents. So generally, not a bad decision by Nisei, I think, or by the playtesting team here. Guys being pretty happy with scarcity being gone, true. But guys can also be stopped by many other things, so yeah, it takes a certain skill to play it. But yeah, this is exactly what we're looking forward to right now. Testing all those changes in the environment of the whole meta, all the players, I mean, all the communities, everybody from everywhere who deck builds and who tests things, you know, either if it's just you and your best playing partner on a kitchen table and you never even have a tournament or any tournament around you, you maybe play on Jinteki sometimes, on JNet, sorry. You know, those people, or the people who have a meta of 30 other people in their big city and they meet together regularly, well, hopefully now they can again. And they, you know, they have this working group and they meet online or offline and build and build and build and test and build and so on. So kind of the really hardcore deck builders. All those people of all the different walks of Netrunner will be playing around at this and, you know, providing feedback, one hopes. So we'll see how this works out. Oh yeah, Cable Carnage also brought up two more things about shipment from Tenon. It sounds fine against Shell Game, but the way it was used was, yeah, run my Kamino, Engram Flash, Aiki Central. Yeah, okay, so there were some, okay, fair enough. And yeah, Cable Carnage, you should definitely trust this person, because yeah, Cable Carnage knows what he's talking about. As a person that has played so many different decks in so many different ways, and you know, as a person that plays a lot of this game in different flavors, definitely a voice of reason here in the chat. So thank you for your observations as well. And yeah, a reminder, if you want to jump in on audio, just ping me somewhere, wherever you can ping me. By the way, I actually quit WhatsApp, yay. So I'm only pingable on Slack and Discord and Telegram. If you have Telegram, I'm in there as well, if you happen to have my phone number. Totally not advertising Telegram here. This is just me saying a handful of things so that you know that my life is improved by leaps and bounds. Okay, back to the story here. So now, and we'll be going through the Nisei article in a few minutes, but now I want to jump to the runner side of things. And here I think there is way more excitement among many people, myself included, because actually some of the removed cards are coming back. So this is not something that happened on the Corp side. On the Corp side, we had quite a few legal cards going away, some restricted cards, you know, One Power Reclamation being banned outright, some restricted cards just becoming legal. But on the runner side, we have two, you could say four, but I think from my experience of this game, two cards here in particular from what I've been playing or playing against stand out in the list of previously removed and now legal. So the very top part of the runner section here. Basically, Faust and Hyperdriver. Holy schmoly, I still have full art Fausts that I could never play because they were banned. You know, they got banned the moment I got them. I was like, oh, I'm getting the champion decks. Ooh, there's Faust. Oh, look at the... Oh, it's banned. So yeah, so Faust's coming back, and I'm gonna pull Faust up. Like, for all those of you who have never played this card, which you should have, I mean, come on. Not Faust. This is from the Underway. Look at this beauty. I mean, look at this beauty. It has been banned since MWL 2.0, which was like somewhere in 1992, right? Or was it 500 BC? I don't know, like... You know, like, it's been banned forever. And now it's back. And look at this wonderful, absolutely smashing beauty, which I'm pretty sure many anarchs will be like, well, friendship with this certain turtle, Aumakua, is over. Now Faust is my best friend. Like, this card has been missing from the card pool for good reasons. I mean, let's be honest, it has been banned for good reasons. And I'm not saying it should have come back earlier. Maybe 3.4, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But like now it's back for realsies. And it's such an honor card. I mean, it's just great. It does things. It's quite strong. It's quite cheap. It costs you cards. It has great, amazing flavor text. It has a very cool, source for it, like, you know, the myth of Faust, Dr. Faust, and so on, and Dr. Faust's pact with the devil. You know, this is just cool, and it's back. So now, really looking forward to seeing this card in play. And now we have to remember that Faust is back, people. So if you're a corp, this card can wreck you. Like, you know, you better be sure you know that you're ready for Faust. Just saying, my friends, just saying. So yeah, let's take a look what people are saying about Faust. Red Bull Actual, Faust being back bums me out a bit, even though it doesn't have the old draw powers, it had to help. True, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to people here just testing and seeing how it works. I think it's not going to break the game, personally. Levy is probably the biggest thing holding Faust back. Also, like, agreed. Lots of 5+ strength eyes now too. And this is another thing, and this is a very good point made by Baramu in the chat. Faust basically costs you cards from your grip, and you need to have a big grip to, you know, keep going. So if you, for example, encounter a Nancy, which happens to be strength 5, and which happens to have 3 subroutines, and if you don't break all subroutines, you actually get net damage, and, you know, so all that stuff. Then Faust is kind of sad, and I think this is exactly the reason why I think Faust coming back right now is going to make it a very interesting card for early game stages. You know, you slam Faust on the table, you have your grip, you might be burning cards as the Anarch, because you still have some tools, and we're going to be going back to them in a second, to get some cards back and so on. So, you know, you're not going to destroy the corp, but you have a strong piece on the table that doesn't cost you any influence because it's in faction, that might be fueling certain or might be synergizing with certain cards, like, you know, like the Archive Breakers, really cool cards to burn with Faust. So you might be endangering certain servers early game with a Faust, rather than let, you know, the corp get away with something that otherwise you would have to have the Amakua and the counter zone and so on and so forth. Let's see how this works. But I'm very, very happy about Faust being back. For sure. I might lose my next 25 corp games in the new standard ban list format when it happens. I don't care. If I lose my 20 corp games to decks that have Faust, I'll be happy still. Because they're not going to be Asmari, first of all, and second of all, oh sorry, not Asmari. Well, Asmari is a corp, never mind. But you know what I mean. Actually, that's a very interesting question. Why are never any runner IDs banned other than poor Lisa, you know? I would like to know. Well, anyway, looking at you, Geist. So the other card coming back is Hyperdriver. I'm going to pull it up as well on the screen. Let's take a look at Hyperdriver, because this is a legendary card. And this card, it's from the Underway. So that's, again, a bit away back. And if you know the diaper archetype, if you know, I mean, if you've basically, if you've been playing the game for a long time, you know that there were certain builds with this card being terrible to the corpse, because you just had runners with huge turns, accessing all the cards ever and just winning with, you know, 15 agenda points or whatever. But now, let's take a look at this card in the current meta. First of all, it's 3 memory, so that's kind of big, and of course there are ways around it, but it's still kind of big, and you have to deal with it. It's 3 influence, so if you're not Shaper, you will have to factor this into your influence, and maybe many factions might be profiting, so Adam, Apex, and Sunny might be profiting from this card in particular, in ways better than the other factions, the ones with more limited influence. Maybe there's somewhere a wild build that somebody's already putting together, Criminal or, you know, or Anarch, that just runs on hyperdrivers and does some magnificent things. We'll see sure enough quite soon, and this is the exciting part of the game. The 3 clicks you get, absolutely great and whatnot, but you cannot re-record it because it's removed from game. So it is an interesting card. I think it's going to be quite fun to have it back. It has quite cool art by Adam S. Doyle, and you can never get enough cool art by Adam S. Doyle in this game. So, you know, looking forward to seeing some Shaper bull manure options on the table with this card coming back into the game. Oh, excuse me, I hopped over a few more tabs here. So Hyperdriver going back. Interesting deck builds again happening. Oh yeah, sorry, Steve got banned as well, indeed, and Longi agreeing with Redwood Actual on Faust not fitting naturally into the environment, so it works on a different principle, so it's prone to abuse. We'll see. And again, like all the cards that are coming back and all the cards that are banned, everything is going to be observed and whatnot. And if people will notice something, and that's going to sound maybe a bit silly and dry, but if you see something, say something. If you notice, and people in the community have been vocal about things, so this is the great thing as well. It's not like you haven't been doing this. We haven't been doing this in the past. If something is really meh or geez, we talk about it and we're critical about this, and that's good. And we should keep being critical about certain builds, certain options. Me complaining about Asmari is going to end now. I will never say Asmari Epic again. This was the last time I used those words on stream. I probably will use them next time because of course I will forget about it. But you know, like basically complaining about certain cards is something that we do because it's a game we love. So we have to have opinions and emotions. Steve got banned. Very cool and true actually as well. And I will not say anything about Steve, to be honest, because, you know, I cannot really say anything. But I do miss Steve. Removed with terminal directive, indeed. I mean, yeah, that's kind of it's a removal. Yeah, so Steve got rotated, actually. It's not banned. So if you rotate, it's kind of like, you know, being banned is a bit more serious. But yeah, 3MU with no demons. That's a serious thing. Hello, Knuckle Guy. And we have Anarcho Mushroom saying, actually, possibly useful question. Is Scarcity, Corporate Grant, and the Hacktivist Meeting all explicitly banned, or are they just notable currents that see play? They are the ones here mentioned explicitly as explicitly banned as well, but they're basically mentioned here separately on the list as opposed to all other currents being banned, just because they've seen a lot of play. But all the currents, anything that says current on it is banned. And by current, I of course mean the subtype for an event, nothing else. If it's, for example, Black Current Juice, a card that's gonna come soon because it's the prequel to, of course, Blueberry Diesel. So black, if you see Black Current Juice, the card, it's not banned. You know, it won't be banned. But yeah, all the current cards, the subtype current cards, gone. And that's good. Never a bad thing. Okay, so back to me emoting. I should have actually called this a reaction video. Vesper reacts to the SBL. Whatever. Do you think I would make loads of money on my reaction videos to you know, to updates about Nisei and kind of the standard format? I don't know. Tapeworm coming back. Or Tapeworm, sorry. Tapeworm. Well, yeah. It's called because it's cooler this way, right? I mean, also they just lost an O because why would you? So this card's coming back. Well, yes and no, and yes and I mean, you know, it's an interesting point to make. Like, is it bad for the game? It's been banned forever. We had crowdfunding kind of serving a similar purpose, but then being just so powerful that even though it is a cool card for different reasons, it was just too cool for school, so it had to go. And Tapeworm, it's a virus, so you can purge it. It comes with a 1 MU cost, so, you know, unless you're Chaos Theory or you just have ways around, again, MU limitations, you're not going to be playing a lot of these boyos. You can only install them if you make a successful on a certain server, which is not a big requirement, let's be honest. And it costs 0, so whatever. And it does help you keep up with corp runaway strategies for just making a ton of money. So that's not bad. Also, we have Cyberdeck's Virus Suite out there. Cyberdeck's Sandbox, right? Yeah, that's what I meant. But yeah, we have CVS, of course, which can totally destroy Tapeworm. We have Cyberdeck Sandbox, which is not only making the corp money, but destroying Tapeworm as well. And yeah, this is a scarcity of vowels. Yes, I really like this. So Tapeworm or Tapeworm, it is scarcity of vowels indeed. Although there's an A, so I don't know how the A survived. Otherwise it would be TP-worm, or maybe that would be too much like toilet paper. I don't know. That would be a scarcity of toilet paper. And by the way, if you're thinking that scarcity of resources is banned because you can now buy toilet paper easily in the shops as opposed to 3 months ago, you might be onto something. I'm not a big fan of conspiracy theories, but this is actually true. Like, this is confirmed. You know, I I think that people who think that 5G is doing weird things or that believe in the Earth being flat may have some problems. But people who believe that, that scarcity of resources going away because toilet paper is back in the shops, and not only toilet paper, yeah, I think you're onto something. Keep thinking. But yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm just taking a very quick break to look at Discord where I got a ping. But okay, that was something totally unrelated. Sorry, because I also usually at 5 my time, so like an hour ago, I would start a stream which would be many different things, but today it's explicitly about the SBL. So some people are like, why are there no video games? I'm like, well, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen maybe tomorrow. Anyway, but yeah, as Knuckle Guy is saying, by the way, this document here that I'm using as reference, which is of course linked from the article as well, and from the SBL list. The one that just shows you only the banned cards. This is a beautiful spreadsheet or document made by Solemn Storm, also known as Ben, one of the playtesters in Nisei's playtesting team. Great resource, super clear. You know exactly what's going on here. I love it. We need more documents like this, explaining things in easy ways, visually appealing and whatnot. And yeah, just to reiterate Knuckle Guy's point, using corporate grant here as restricted and then banned, and then all other cards legal and banned. That basically means that corporate grant used to be restricted, but now it's completely banned. But for example, in the case of scarcity of resources, because that was legal, now it's banned, and all other currents were legal and now they're banned. Yeah, this is just to make sure that people do remember that scarcity of resources, which is a card that was an oppressive card, that it is definitely banned, and all the other currents along with it. There should be, just a big plus. They're saying scarcity of resources plus all the other currents gone. So now, the other card, zero on the. Oh yeah, Knuckle Guy. By the way, yeah, thank you, Knuckle Guy. If you're in the chat on Twitch, yeah, you can absolutely approach Knuckle Guy for more information. If I will have any questions, I might be jumping in as well with some questions. But yeah, I will definitely refer you to Knuckle Guy in the chat if you have any comments or anything. And by the way, this is not an official Nisei stream. We just happen to have Knuckle Guy in the chat, which is great. And I happen to be a part of Nisei as well, but I'm doing this for fun and out of my own volition. Nobody asked me to do it. Nobody told me to do it. They actually were trying to prevent me from doing this. Like, no, I'm gonna do no, I'm joking. Nobody was telling me anything. So let's put zero up. Zero, which is, I think, it's from Kampala, so it's not a very old card. Or well, I mean, theoretically you could say, yeah, it's over a year old, blah, blah, whatever. Yeah, sure, but it was one of the last cards to come out under FFG. And for me, again, like I already mentioned, some cards coming back are just, like little tears in my eyes. Like, oh, this is so good. This card I love for the flavor text because it's just great. And I never lived a life like this, but I know people who do or did. And yeah, it has cool art. Martin de Diego Salaba here, very cool art. I really like it. It looks like a console. It looks like a CD player or a DVD player. It looks like something that hurts because it looks a bit like some sort of a induction burner, maybe like an induction oven, or like an induction stove where you can just put your hand by accident and maybe get burnt. I don't know. But basically, again, another very anarch card, because you click, you suffer 1 net damage, and you gain 1 credit and draw 2 cards. You can only do it once per turn, so it's not really that powerful. It's not very abusive. You cannot really over-abuse it, especially with certain cards being out of the pool as well. And I think it's going to enable quite a lot of interesting plays. For example, it's a non-bow with Faust, because, okay, you could say, yeah, I suffer 1 net damage, but I draw 2 cards, so I kind of get 1 extra card, so Faust will be stronger if I use it on its own. Yes, but you burn through a lot of cards, and even though you might actually get some of them back, you might retrieve some of them, you might, pick them selectively with certain events. and so on, you will not be able to recycle your deck quite easily, you know, in its entirety. So this is a very cool, cheap, useful card for certain ideas, certain builds, certain playstyles, I would say. It doesn't provide you any MU. It doesn't do anything else other than what it says on the tin. It is actually unique as well. So yeah, curious to see what people are gonna do with Zero. Happy to see it back. 3 influence. So again, I don't think it's gonna be super visible outside Anarchs, but then again, who knows? Maybe. Okay. So these are the removed cards that are coming back, and just to reiterate, Faust and Hyperdriver, I'm very excited about personally. Tapeworm, cool card, and Zero, yeah, why not? So we have the 3 factions, so Anarchs and Shapers and Criminals, all of them getting something back, so I think it's fairly okay. And then we have Aesop's Pawn Shop coming back completely, no longer restricted, big thing. Corporate Grant as a current, yeah, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about 419. Go away, Corporate Grant. We hate you. Dorm Computer. Now, I'm going to pull this up because Dorm Computer used to be restricted. Now it's banned. And actually, first of all, I'm going to put it up here. It's from Breaker Bay. What it does is basically it puts 4 power counters on itself, and then you can make a route and avoid all tags for the remainder of the run. And you would say like, hey, I mean, this is not a super special effect or anything. It's, it's very contextual. You need to have tags in play, so it probably only wrecks certain builds or certain archetypes. And yeah, please do share your thoughts about the Dorm Computer in the chat as well. But let's see what the Nisei explanation brings up. And I read it. I don't remember if they bring Dorm Computer up. No, they don't. They don't talk about Dorm Computer. So they actually didn't explain this. Okay, no, I'm kidding, of course. I mean, but you could say that. Then again, this card basically, if you combo it with certain IDs, or if you combo it with certain abilities, or if you use it in particular scenarios, could be quite terrible for the corp. I'm not gonna go into the details here because again, I would like to finish the stream today. Oh, hello, Jessica. But yeah, whoops by Knuckle, guys. So I think Dorm Computer not being explained there. There's gonna be some errata. So, no, I'm kidding. Of course, I'm absolutely kidding. I just couldn't find Dorm Computer on the page. I'm pretty sure it's there. But yeah, this card got banned basically because I'm pretty sure that with certain combinations of cards in play available right now that are okay on their own, it could, and it was restricted again for a reason. Now it's going to be banned. It's been restricted forever since MWL 3.1. So if you just go all the way back to the explanations for any of the MWLs that kept it as restricted, you will see in those descriptions why exactly it's being kept like this. And now the decision was taken, okay, to just remove it from the card pool because removing all the pieces that enable kind of broken Dorm Computer plays, that would be just not working properly. Oh yeah, and Anarcho Mushroom makes a great point here. Other than saying that they're bad on Netrunner, which they're not. Anarcho Mushroom is not bad on Netrunner. Don't listen to that, people. If this was made legal, completely dunks on Argus, which is probably going to be a tier 1 corp deck, and that just means runners are actually too good. But yeah, generally, this card does wreck a certain corp, indeed, Argus. And I forgot about Argus because I haven't played Argus in so long, because, I just prefer other Wayland flavors now, just saying. But there are too many pieces out there in the card pool right now that together with Dorm Computer would make life very hard for quite a few builds of corps or quite a few corp cards out there that do rely on tags. So some people would say, yeah, but like CTM, and we're gonna get to CTM as well, because CTM is definitely being brought up already by people saying, yeah, but now CTM is gonna be the most oppressive corp ever because Asmari is gone, so people who play yellow, they will have to play something else, and they're gonna play CTM, and you might be right. But let's keep going. Another card that used to be restricted and is made legal right now is N'Golo. And this is a biggie. I think N'Golo... Oh yeah, sorry, Kanakal Guy is just going to comment very quickly. I'm going to read Kanakal Guy's comment here on stream so that it's also... it's visible on the screen already, but I'm going to read it out so that it's preserved in audio as well. So yeah, CTM and Argus, that's Anarcho Mushroom's comments here, but yeah. So... Dorm Computer negates far too many corp tag punishment on runner's turn. Usually tags on runner turn are balanced by having to click to remove them. But this breaks that trade value too much. So yeah, basically it just unbalances the tag interaction. And I think there's also, I mean, I just wanted to add to this, like there are certain cards that, you know, you run. I mean, this is actually, sorry, this is exactly what Kanakal Guy is saying here. Too many corp tag punishment on runner's turn. So basically, yeah, there are certain ways to punish the runner as the corp using corp cards with tags during their turn, during the runner's turn. You know, Data Raven and whatnot, and other cards come to mind. Snare gives you a tag and so on. So you know that's already a bit of a punishment, and the runner has to take that into account and factor that into their turn and so on. That such a threat exists. But also there are quite a few cards on the runner side that would give you a tag if you do something on your turn, if you play that card. And again, with Dorm Computer, you might be just... actually, no, Dorm Computer only is for runs. Excuse me, never mind, don't listen to me. I will just shut up. So yeah, Kanakal Guy's point stand, mine doesn't. Let's go to N'Golo. N'Golo is... I think this is going to be a point of contention for a lot of different people, a very big discussion point, because we have seen... very powerful builds with N'Golo or very aggressive builds with N'Golo, and of course you can say it costs 5, it takes up 2 memory, it has once per turn ability for this and so on and so forth. But Kit or real Kit Peddler exists, Pelangi exists, 2 credits for 4 strength, that's huge. So this card is really powerful. Now making it a regularly legal card without any restrictions, I don't know. I think it is balanced out in a way, in just a tiny way by, for example, Film Critic going away from the card pool, which of course it's a shaper card, but it's only 1 influence, so it doesn't really that much and so on. It doesn't really mean much for other factions to have Film Critic or not. But yeah, N'Golo is a bit pricier. It is a hefty 4 MU. Sorry, not MU. Influence. What am I even talking about? It's a hefty 2 MU. It's 4 influence. It is expensive in many different ways. It does enable power turns or power plays by the runner for sure. We'll see. I think this is one of those cards that is a bit on the fence, and honestly, I'm not certain if it should have been banned or kept. It was kept because a lot of people, as I already mentioned in the stream, a lot of people have been testing this. A lot of people have been talking about it. So, you know, one person's one person's idea of this means a bit, but doesn't mean a lot when it comes to, you know, a lot of different people's ideas and perceptions and experiences with this card. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, non-stealth shapers are allowed to have nice things once in a while. Wink. Okay, that's Kanakal Guy, fair enough. So yeah, shapers are in a good spot, and with N'Golo being for influence, yeah, I mean, let's be honest, it's not gonna break the game. It's gonna make certain playstyles, certain scenarios more likely and easier for the runners to pull off. Not across the board again, mind you. Certain archetypes will benefit from this, or certain mostly shaper builds will work in it. It is very good in Kit on Anarcho Mushroom, I totally agree as well. Yeah, the best shaper decoder. Is it fine being legal? Yeah, it should be fine being legal. Yeah, SMCing it out is 7 credits indeed. So yeah, it is a very expensive card in many ways, in all the ways basically. High on influence, high on MU, high on credits. 5 is kind of hefty. Once per turn effect. It does have nice boosts and so on. So once you have it on the table, yeah. But then again, people, SDS drawn deployment. Also, have I mentioned aggressive secretary? I think it's a legal card still. No, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, there are ways to counter this. So it's not an abomination that's going to destroy the corp whenever it hits the table, but it is an expensive card that should make the corp worry, and that is what it is basically. Film critic being banned. Honestly, I'm gonna put my corp hat on right now and just say good riddance, film critic. This card way too cheap, way too powerful for what it is. I loved playing film critic as a runner, especially against certain oppressive corps that had only 3-pointers or had very annoying agendas that gave you a lot of damage and all that stuff. Yeah, film critic had its role in the meta for sure, but look at the restriction list. It's been restricted since MWL 2.0. So I think the card was printed and then everybody just realized maybe there are other ways of doing this. Maybe we can or if you have it, it comes at a price. And I think the old format of MWL was a really great balancing act. Like, I think the 3 layers of removing, restricting, and making things legal were great. I think if we're switching into this binary system or legal or banned, this card has to go. Yeah, basically it has to go because there's with Jessica being upset, yes, and Anarcho Mushroom saying so many ways to make film critic good but busted. I also agree. I will never get to steal an Obokata protocol ever again. And I think film critic, it's clearly a meme card. It's been around forever. It has enabled many interesting fun plays and whatnot, but a world without film critic is gonna be okay, I think. Even when Obokata's coming back and so on, it's still gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. We can deal without film critic. I think also, if you've been a film critic for so long, and your gerbil could write a better screenplay, and you're really fed up with everything and so on, and you've taken so many agendas onto you so that the runner just doesn't die to net damage or meat damage or any other damage, or doesn't get destroyed by the corp financially or whatever, if you've done so much work, you should be retired at some point. So this is the film critic's retirement. I could have made a cool graphic around it as well, but never mind. Like, I leave cool graphics to people with talents. I'm just going to be using my talents, which is babbling around all the time. And by the way, for all those of you who just joined, we're talking about the standard ban list today. So I'm basically jumping between all the resources that are available there for the public. I didn't prepare anything special, so you don't have to refer to this later on, or you don't have to rewind this for anything that you may have missed. This is just me talking about the materials that are all online, using all that. Thanks to Solemn Stone for putting this together. This is a great little document. Thanks to Michael for writing the article that we're referring to as well. Thanks to the Netrunner DB crew for making it easy to look cards up and so on. And we're going to Gang Sign. Gang Sign, well, Gang Sign. Gangnam Sign. So Gangnam Sign, Wopang Gangnam Sign. I think it's, I don't know, if this was a one-off, if this was if this was unique, or if this was a limit 1 per deck or something, maybe it wouldn't go away. But with the way it is, with the cost it has, with the results, with the effect it has, the Muertos gang members leading gang signs everywhere, that's pure just hooliganism, that's just vandalism, vandalizing streets and so on. That has to go. Because let's be honest, Muertos, they're the Desenfrancistas and so on, but they're also a gang, so they're probably profiting from people's suffering and so on. So that has to go a bit. So gang sign going away from the game. Personally, I played only a couple of times with gang sign Leelas. It's a fun experience, but not for the corp. It's a fun experience, but it also is a bit silly because you can kind of tech against it. But yeah, it is gone. It is gone, and I don't think we'll miss it much. It hasn't been really, you know, it's not crowdfunding, for example, which is a hugely polarizing card. It's a great card, but it's too powerful. But then again, it was cool because it did things, but and so on and so forth. Whereas Gang Sign is just kind of an annoying card that popped up here and there, and it being gone, even though it was on restricted list before, yeah, well, you know, happens. Inversificator becoming legal. Now that's something. That's something I think we need to talk about a bit more. Although again, I'm probably gonna just say, yeah, okay, we all know that, you know, kit and whatnot, but and maybe Inversificator Angolo is gonna be broken in kit. We don't know. We'll see. But Inversificator is kind of a cool card. It's a very Shaper card, obviously because it's Shaper. But you know, the first time you pass a piece of ice, each turn in which you use Inversificator to break all subroutines, you may swap that ice with another piece of ice. And it works with Codegate, so of course Kit. Or of course Pelangi, because it doesn't have to be only Kit. But it's a cool card, but it costs 6, so that's the thing. It is fairly expensive. You know, I mean, a lot of the breakers I can think of that are kind of in my comfort zone when it comes to installing them without thinking twice. That's kind of 4 maximum, you know, 4 credits. 6 credits, it's a bit, it's actually quite a lot. But yeah, it's 3 influence as well. So again, never, honestly, I don't think I've seen a Inversificator deck outside of Shaper. Let's click deck list and let's see. I mean, oh yeah, there's a Nero to Hero deck, but I mean, yeah, and there's Andromeda in 2017, and that's kind of, yeah, but you can just see Kit, maybe some Haley. There's some really interesting 2017 Edward Kim deck that did well on Gen Con that had it, but I mean, other than that, it's basically Kit's toy, or a Shaper toy, but mostly Kit's toy. So, Inversificator coming back, I don't think it's gonna upset the game a lot. It might make it easier for Kit to basically be more menacing, and I'm wondering if Kit is going to become the runner to beat on the Shaper side of things. Who knows? I mean, Haley is still there, and Haley is quite strong. So yeah, if you have any strong thoughts about Inversificator, please share. But I think it's okay to have it back. It doesn't have a super high strength. It is the average cost of 1 credit, you know, to do things with it. It is quite pricey to install. It's very situational in a way as well, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. This is one of those, again, to be watched cards. Labor rights becoming legal. So this is the part where, okay, you could say, okay, labor rights becoming legal. That means that we're gonna have. Let me pull up the new version. Which, I mean, honestly, this is a cool art. I'm fine with that. Amelie had did a good job, but I think the reprint, you know, here by Crumbler, like, the mirror effect on the face of this, I assume, Bioroid, although it's a faceless Bioroid, and Bioroids usually have more pronounced faces. Well, but it's of course also abstract. It's kind of cool. Like, I like the effect and the labor, the cheap Bioroid labor here, being worried about or just looking without an expression actually at the people with flags and so on, with banners. I think banners are going to be a thing in the future. Like I think it will be more like cyber banners or holograms, or I don't know, spray banners. You just spray it and then it kind of shapes up into a banner. I don't know, but like fabric banners, I don't know. Well, anyway, smart fabric maybe. So sorry, back to the card. Labor rights becoming legal. Trash the top 3 cards of your stack. Shuffle 3 cards from your heap into your stack. Draw 1 card. Remove this event from the game. Again, I think it's a good card to have. It was restricted for reasons, and it has been restricted for a long time, or for quite a bit. But it's a cool card. It has a cost. It does certain things. It allows you to recur certain cards and so on. Or yeah, like basically, it's a good. I would say it's a good Anarch card that might see some play outside of Anarch because it's only 2 influence. It is a very cheap And we hear in the chat from Anarcho Mushroom that Mike Sheehan, the European champion of 2017 that designed this card, was pretty pleased that that is legal again. And indeed, I mean, it's a cool card. Like, it's a cool design. It does Anarch things in Anarch ways, and it will help out. You know, maybe it's not gonna make Faust super powerful, but it might give you just this one last bit of fuel you need to have some cards to draw and then use them for Faust, for example. Late game, probably Faust is not going to be a good choice. You don't want to burn your last cards on Faust. Well, anyway, yeah, good to see it back. Glad to see it back. Looking forward to people doing things with it. Mad Dash being banned. Well, I'm not going to pull Mad Dash up because everybody knows what it does, I guess. I mean, you know, I haven't played Mad Dash in a long time. Okay, now let's pull it up. Let's pull it up, sorry. I wasn't pulling the Corp cards up because they were kind of easier to discuss. And I think the runner side has way more spiciness. Also, there are more changes on the runner side, so bringing those cards up actually makes sense. It is a cool little card, I have to admit. I don't think, and let's take a quick look if Mad Dash gets an explanation. No, it doesn't. So, no, I don't think this was banned because of, I don't know, like because of power plays or like abusive usage. And yeah, Grunkov here saying Mad Dash SSL GFI relationship is one. I don't think we got right with this ban list. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of an odd one indeed. The lack of runner fake points with the amount of 5/3 corps is a bit disappointing by Jessica. Yeah, so this is the thing. Like Mad Dash, I don't see this card breaking the game in any way right now with the way it is. It was a great include for all those GFI decks, for example, or all the 2-pointer decks with GFIs to just make sure that the corp actually doesn't win. So it was a cool trick in the hat to have, or trick in the sleeve, to just pull it out at the right moment and play it. People wouldn't play 3 off of Mad Dashes, maybe 2 or 1. It was a cool include. Maybe it will be coming back. I mean, we'll see. And this is about observing the meta after the SBL goes into play fully in standard. And we'll see. I wouldn't mind Mad Dash actually being legal. And this is my private opinion here. Oh, Grunkov says, that mash is, or Mad Dash, sorry, it's busted. Rather ban one of the agendas than legalize the mash. Ooh, okay. Stargate and Mad Dash being the biggest reason. Okay, no, so, okay, so yeah, Canonical guy here making a good point. Stargate and Mad Dash, yeah, maybe we should ban Stargate, huh? Did anybody think about banning Stargate, maybe? Stargate, excuse me, you know, calling Stargate to the bad gate. Please cross the gate of being bad. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, like, I am in the bring Mad Dash back at the cost of Stargate, maybe. I'm in that camp, but we'll see. Of course, we'll see. And again, let's see how people play this or without it. How is it going to look for the corpse with the likes of Obokata Protocol and GFI back as fully legal cards in whatever deck you want to build with no restrictions. And the other agendas 5/3s out there as well being kind of mean. I mean, you know, Bologna's nowhere in this list for one. So like I was saying earlier on about Asmari, you know, it's like Asmari's gone, but you can still play the Asmari deck, well, almost, with small changes in a different ID. That's still possible. So, you know, give it a try. Maybe this is going to be that big thing. But yeah, we have a discussion about Mad Dash being absurd value, indeed, for 0 credits and no influence. Maybe if it had 1 influence cost and one credit cost or something like this. Anarcho Mushroom saying Obokata should got hit. Defensive 5/3s are okay, but Obokata is too good. Yeah, well, Bologna is fine. Stim hack it. Yeah, Anarcho Mushroom making another great point, but what if you don't have stim hacks? What if you like your brain? You don't want to get brain damage all the time. Stim hacks are bad for you. You know, stim hacks are bad. Well, anyway, now Paperclip becoming legal. Is it the greatest mistake in the history of Netrunner, or is it something that we're not gonna be actually noticing much because Corroder has been played around anyway? And, well, I don't know. I think Paperclip not being restricted... Let's see. I would say again, let's see. It is by far the most efficient barrier breaker out there. It is by far borked, as in, you know, it's a bit whoa, as opposed to completely broken. So this being a bin breaker, this being one MU with one strength and with this mad, not dash, but like with this wild breaking effect where you just pump it up and then you also break the subroutines at the same time. It is the most efficient bin breaker as well. And of course, this is all according to the way the game should be, because unarcs and barriers and so on. Absolutely. So, but this is a very powerful card. I don't know. I mean, well, let's be honest. I mean, Anarchs are not really losing anything other than Rumor Mill, Clan Vengeance, DDoS, and Hacktivist Meeting, which is a current anyway. But like, none of the cards that are not Paperclip that Anarchs are losing would be interacting with Paperclip. You do get Faust back, which allows you, for example, to trash Paperclip to boost Faust or to break a subroutine with Faust. So maybe that's not a big swing, of course, obviously. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think Paperclip is too broken. It is a powerful card. We'll see how it plays out later on. Paperclip back makes Titanium sad, indeed. Jessica is deciding to play Paperclip whenever and wherever she can. Okay, so you know, I don't know. You might be, for example, playing Scrabble and then suddenly Paperclip for 17 points. Why not? No, of course, I'm kidding. But yeah, being fed up with struggling with bears, absolutely agree. Titanium is a beautiful Frankenstein's monster. Indeed, Titanium is awesome. We love Titanium. But yeah, Paperclip back in the game fully, completely. I would say it's probably going to be on the, again, watch this card list, because I don't think it's going to break anything, but it might make certain plays stronger, or certain play styles or certain archetypes a bit stronger. But it's okay. I mean, we have other breakers there, and people have been doing quite okay with Corroder. I'm very, like, Corroder, I think, is one of those cards whenever I see it, I'm like, yeah, good old Netrunner, this card, you know, came out. This was one of the first cards I have ever seen, because it was on top of the pack, because you opened the first core set and there was the Anarchs and Noise was looking at you. And you're looking at Noise, you're like, ooh, this is cool. And then Paperclip was one of the first cards in there as well. I think. I might be making this up, but no, it has a very low number. And yeah, and I was like, wow, this card's so cool. Ah, look at the image. This is so cool, the art and everything. So Corroder was just a mighty cool card from the very beginnings of the game, of its modern iteration. And it's still there. So Corroder is cool. Knuckle guys comment, Anarch is not exactly nerfed or buffed, but by extension of Shaper getting strong, there are more choices, which is good. And yeah, Jessica, why are you booing Corroder? Come on, this is not a Corroder hate stream. That's gonna be on Thursday. Thursday we have the We Hate Corroder Club, and everybody just joins and we say boo Corroder for like 3 hours, and we have, like, you know, we have the videos of people burning the card and so on, so you can join. Of course, I'm kidding, but you know, you might start it. I'm going to help you with that, because I support people's initiatives. I'm fine with Corroder. Corroder is awesome. I like Corroder. Anyway, moving on. We were talking about Paperclip. Rumor Mill being banned. Well, it was restricted anyway, and as sad as I am for a Princess Space Kitten related card with probably the kittiest of arts. I mean, this is the kittiest of arts, right? There is no kittier or cattier or kitsier or kittenier art in the game, right? There are some cat cards out there, or feline cards, but you cannot beat the cat in this card. Like, this is like the most kitty card ever. So with this card being gone, well, it's a current, you know, I mean, of course, currents are going, and it was printed for reasons. It's been restricted for ever. It used to be banned. It used to, you know, it used to cost universal. Does anybody still remember Universal Influence? Jeez, those were like really dark days, right? You had to count influence in so many different ways, like adding points and. Well, anyway, yeah, okay, Rumor Mill, we will keep you in our hearts forever for the lovely art and for your relation to Princess Space Kitten, absolutely. But the rest, nah, you know, go away. Tech Trader becoming legal, and I can hear the legions of Geist players who are like, yeah, guys, you know, not so good. I mean, a bit good, but, you know, used to be, you know, because, you know, it was like, it's not. And now all those people are like, yeah, baby, we're back. Like, Geist, best player, Geist, best ID, best everything, you know. People probably already 3D printing, like, you know, I don't know, Geist busts without the shirt, or, you know, like getting tattooed like Geist, all that stuff, you know, because Tech Trader becoming legal could be a big thing for criminals, especially for Geist, obviously. I mean, not only, I mean, Haley is going to benefit from this as well, or might a bit, especially with DJ Fenris and Geist. But yeah, Tech Trader becoming legal. I think it's good to have Tech Trader in the game because it does enable Geist to exist and function and be a powerful archetype. Not an archetype that is unbeatable, but a very challenge-worthy archetype, you know, like it will actually put you through your paces if you are the corpse. So yeah, playing, if you've never played Geist, you should try it. Like, you should definitely try playing that ID. It is a slightly different kind of net running, or running, but yeah, definitely worth trying out. And Tech Trader staying as a legal card, that's great. And now let's go to the big hits of used to be legal, but now it's gone. Freedom Through Equality, which was basically Mad Dash in a different format. It's a current, so it just goes away and that's it. Sorry for it being a current. It wasn't a bad card, but it's a current, so it was a bit of controversial from the mechanical point of view. Clan Vengeance. So Clan Vengeance, an honor card, which used to be in a couple of broken decks, and it's going away now. And yeah, I think it's okay to have it go away. There are still useful trashing, corp card trashing effects in the game. On the runner side, there are still ways of messing with the corpse plans and, you know, accessing more cards or removing more cards than they expect from the game in different ways. Clan Vengeance was a bit broken because it's not unique. It's a bit broken because you can basically farm the counters on 3 of them at the same time if you have them using the same trigger. And, you know, like loading up 3 Clan Vengeances, to even like 4 counters each, which is not such a hard thing to do on the runner side. And then being able to trash 12 cards from the corpse HQ, and I know it's random, but still, it's a bit too much. So this going away, I'm actually pretty okay with that and quite fine with it. DDoS going away. Now this is, and this was already mentioned in the chat, DDoS going away is a big thing. I think it's another kind of a meta-defining card in a way for the Anarchs. Especially, of course, because of Apocalypse plays. And yeah, I think we might be getting some sort of, or I hope we might be getting some sort of a DDoS-like effect in some future cards. But again, not unique. Not super expensive. Maybe if it was 4 or 5, maybe it would have stayed. But like 3 credits, it's kind of cheap for the effect it has, for the savings you get, for the corpse being able, and the accesses you probably are going for, and the successful run effects that you might be playing later on, like DDoS and Apocalypse. That's basically the combo that breaks the game literally for the corp by just taking their board state and throwing it out the window and into the archives. Oh yeah, and Kanakal Guy makes a great point that I totally skipped. You cannot have Clan Vengeance and Zero in the game at the same time as well. I completely forgot about this, but I mean that's basically a very good point. Zero, the console, which is back, and that's great. That would be powering, you know, if you power up, like I was already saying, if you power up 3 Clan Vengeances with just 4 clicks of Zero, that's just broken, and the Corp just cannot really do anything about this. They cannot stop you from damaging yourself, right? Oh, excuse me, I pressed the space by accident. So yeah, Dita's going away. Not a bad thing. It is a power card, but it's not, how to put it, it's not a card that the lack of is going to upset completely one side of the game. So, well, let's see. Encore! Now, Encore, and I think there was an explanation for Encore, right? Indeed. So, so this is Encore being banned is something that actually popped up because of testing, and this is why the testing team once more proves to be like a huge component of the game being fun still, thanks to all the people who tirelessly are testing. So once again, all the testers doing stuff, all the people coming up with ideas and just playing, shuffling those cards or testing them online. You know, thank you so much. You've done an amazing piece of work. There's a ton of people hours in this list that I have no idea of, but I haven't seen the discussions and the sheets and how people were tracking results and so on and so forth. But I've heard stories of, you know, like people just testing things all the time and going for the wildest ideas and wildest combos and so on. And here we are, exactly. If Hyperdriver is coming back, and certain decks that it would enable that Hyperdriver would enable in the past are no longer viable because some of the cards are just gone. People were testing this, and there was a diaper style deck discovered with Encore. So Encore and Hyperdriver in the same game, not really possible. And yeah, Encore mostly is a combo card. Hyperdriver actually has uses that are beyond just comboing out, so it had to go. It is, let's be honest, it is one of the coolest arts ever. I mean, Aurora Folney here did an amazing job of portraying smoking and just being herself, and with the tattoos and everything, and, you know, dabbing almost here, or not really dabbing, but like, yeah, a little dab, if you will. And it's a cool card, but the effect is quite powerful, and if you can abuse it, then it just becomes unbearable. And that's why Encore is out. And that's what it is. And yeah, Kanakal Guy, of course, confirming this as well. And Baramu also commenting on DDoS. And yeah, indeed. I think there are certain items here on this list on the SBL that we can all just say, yeah, like this makes perfect sense. Like even without having to discuss it thoroughly, just the interactions that certain cards have, the experiences that a lot of us had playing those cards or against those cards. It's okay to see them gone. Hacktivist Meeting, it's a current, and all the currents, they're also currents and they're gone. And this concludes my walkthrough through this, but let's not finish here. So I'm just gonna remind you that this is a list put by Storm that is linked from the standard ban list article, which was put up fairly recently. And the standard ban list article has basically all the banned cards only. So you can clearly just take all these cards from your storage where you're storing them with all the legal cards and just remove them from that box, put them into your collection somewhere else for safekeeping for the future, because who knows, maybe Ismari Epic is gonna come back. Over my dead runner body that's net damaged. Never. It's not. No, I mean, I'm kidding, of course. But you can play these cards in other formats. It's just that. Press the space again. This is flavoring the game in a certain way. Really looking forward to things happening. So this is a very clear guide, just showing you, okay, these cards, remove them from your collection so that you don't get confused when deck building and putting cards together into decks. So the guide by Solemn Storm is mentioned here at the bottom. You can just click this link and then you're going to get to this PDF that we've been using as the base for this stream so far. And then there's this huge article, and I've been quoting from it and I've read it several times as well. But yeah, you can take a look at it. It's clearly formatted, which is really cool. Thank you very much to Michael and Spencer and everybody else working on this article together, putting it together. Articles on Nisei are basically a team effort, in case you're wondering. There will always be a name, or, you know, I mean, many times there will be a name on an article, but 99% of the cases is just this person coming up with an article or with a need for an article and drafting it and writing it down, and then the team just looking at it and reviewing it and suggesting things and so on and so forth. So this is, again, a team effort, signed by Michael here, published by Michael, and Michael was the one having, who was editing this into shape and so on to make sure that it's actually nicely formatted and so on. So kudos to Michael as well. If you're interested about those decisions, again, you know, and if you really want to know why, please, you can ask Knuckle Guy in the chat right now if you want, or you can of course read this article as well and just get the insights from that article. Skippin made a very nice comment here. The changelog was made that hates activists to be double banned. Yeah, I mean, indeed, like, hacktivist is just so evil that it goes away twice. But yeah, it is visually pleasing, Jessica, as well. I agree, absolutely. But yeah, so these are the main resources on the Nisei site that you can clearly find. They're going to nisei.net. You have the standard ban list, you have the new ban list format and changes, and then you have Solemn Storm's document linked from these resources. And this is just the start, of course. This is just the start. So I'm just gonna bring up two things. There is a discussion, and I'm not on Facebook, so I cannot really use Facebook for you and show you things there. But there is a discussion on Reddit, which has a lot of interesting points. It is super long already. People are commenting there, commenting there on different things. The discussion is mostly civil. There are certain very controversial opinions in there, but they're exchanged in the spirit of discussing. They're not being exchanged in the spirit of, oh, I'm going to tell you exactly how the game should be, and I think this is, oh, sorry, just went back the wrong way. So yeah, it's a cool thread. It's a cool, I think I know what I'm doing here. Sorry for all the changes. But anyway, it's a cool thread. Take a look. Do participate if you're on Reddit. There's also one other post on Reddit, which was put by Crit Hit D20. So yeah, Greg, one of the designers of cards in the Nisei era, and a very prolific Netrunner player in general. And this is a super cool resource. I would like to personally thank Greg for putting this together. It was, I mean, I don't know. I don't know Greg personally that much, but I assume there was a lot of pleasure in putting this together and voicing, you know, one's opinion and whatnot. But it's also a lot of work. So thank you so much for putting this. There is a lot of discussing here, of course, how things are shaping up, how things are looking based on the SBL, and so on. And this is coming from a game designer, so a card designer as well. So definitely worth reading this and, you know, having your opinion in this as well, and maybe agreeing with some points, maybe disagreeing with others. Absolutely not a problem. But what is also very cool, and I think it wouldn't be a Greg post, so to speak, or yeah, like it wouldn't be Greg's post if it wasn't if it didn't have basically some deck ideas. Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna catch up with the chat. Oh yeah, very good comment that I'm going to quote it. You can see it on the screen, but I'm going to quote it here as well in voice. So Knuckle Guy says, a nice thing about getting the big work done on this new list is that we are now able to be quicker and more flexible about decks cards that we missed. We're not promising this is 100% perfect. We're happy with it, but if something emerges that is too good, we'll be quicker to address it. Yeah, and exactly. I mean, you know, the binary nature of banned legal is great because you can just turn cards on or off. And testing can be done the same way. You don't have to worry about restricting. You don't have to worry about different... It's just this binary nature, this kind of very easy to understand nature of the ban list right now makes everybody's life much, much easier. So yeah. And it is very welcome, and I totally agree with what Jessica's saying here as well. I am totally feeling positive about the MWL as well, and it will shake things up, absolutely, and that's very welcome, absolutely. But now let's take a quick look, and this is why is this going back? Because I'm clicking certain things. Anyway, let's take a look at this subreddit post, and one of my options was to actually put those decks together very quickly and play them online, but I'm gonna leave this for another day. And I'm also going to leave this, or the fun with it, to you and to people who are also going to be streaming later this week. And I'm pretty sure most popular streamers of Netrunner content out there, excuse me, oh, hiccups, I should probably get some water. I haven't had any water in an hour. So most of the streamers will be trying something out with the new standard ban list because it's exciting. It's a new toy. It's a new thing. It's a new... dawn, it's a new day. I could sing here, but that would be terrible, and then you would just disconnect, and I don't want that just yet. So, for example, Greg did an awesome thing here, which was in a very rough way, and that's stated here clearly, moving Biovolt Asmari to GameNet with minimal consequence. And this is what I was talking about earlier, like, you know, Asmari at the going away, well, whatever. But now you have a certain flavor of Asmari in GameNet with minimal consequences being remade here, basically. And you have the deck list here. You can take a look at it. Of course, there's Biovolts, there are border controls and so on. And, you know, there's the Bologna, the dreaded Bologna, and the SSLs. But, of course, you have to add an agenda because now you need more points because you're no longer Asmari, you're actually GameNet and so on. But a lot of the toys here are the same deck. And Greg brings up something that is brought by quite a few other people as well. A big buff for CTM. So yeah, GFI and Mamba Temple versus GFI and Bologna. Like the variant with Bologna of this. Again, has to be tested. But Hacktivist being gone, that's a huge, huge boon for CTM. That's a huge boon for a lot of horizontal decks. Well, Gagarin being gone, that's no longer a horizontal deck that's available, but we definitely will have to see. We'll definitely have to see how this plays out. How CTM, what power level is CTM is going to reach in the new meta. Kanako Guy has a comment on minimal consequences of losing Asmari's constant income. It's not that minimal. That's a very good point, and yeah, I think this kind of. Kanako Guy's comment here, and my line of thinking about Asmari in general is like the ID on its own wouldn't be bad, but with all the different types of eyes it can use to tax you out, and with all the other card effects out there that can tax you out or force you into a lose-lose situation as the runner, Asmari's 2 extra credits that force you to adapt a certain chaotic, in a way, playstyle, because you cannot really sometimes play... If you're playing against a good Asmari player, you will never be able to play the right card at the right time, almost, without giving Asmari those credits. So the credit swing in Asmari's case is just too big, and that basically, in my book, is what made Asmari just so oppressive. And, you know, not to mention the deck size, not to mention, you know, just the 6 agendas, and, you know, echo chambers and so on. Echo chamber is still in the game, like, you know, that's not a problem. We're fine with that, right? So, yeah, but Asmari and all the other toys around it, that was a bit too much. Well, anyway, a CTM build here. Again, very interesting. Kind of looks very standard. But yeah, then you see Mambo Temple and Global Food in one deck, and you're starting to wonder, right? It's like, what is going on here, right? Interesting, really interesting to see this deck in action. And then, oh yeah, Greg mentions Obokata and Bioethics. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've played a few Jinteki decks that were mostly kill decks rather than threaten to kill and rather score out decks. So I am probably going to test this, and I'm probably going to tweak this because I like it when somebody just allows me to net deck, or actually welcomes, like invites me to net deck, and we will see how this plays here. But sorry. Obokata and Bioethics, yeah, because I was already scrolling into a diaper list, or Aesop's Haley, sorry. I was too fast. But I'm really curious to see, without Kakugo and without Breach Dome, how can a Jinteki damage deck work? And this is one of the things I'm personally, of course, already putting together in my card garage. Pretty sure other people are doing this as well. Because it's going to be a different kind of game, but there's still damage on the table, of course. And I'm really curious to see that. And of course, we'll have to get used to new ways of Jinteki, making it dangerous, making it spiky for us to run. Cable Carnage here, discussing that the GameNet deck that takes the Asmari shell plays more agendas. It has a worse agenda because it has Degree Mail in there to just reach the agenda points, and makes no money in the early game when it's most critical. Indeed, I mean, Scarcity and Asmari gone. Yeah, probably Asmari without Scarcity would be still bad, but both of them gone, nobody's gonna cry. But we'll see. Okay, so now. Oh yeah, one thing that I want to mention, I mean, just taking a very quick look again at the ban list. On the Corp site, and I totally skipped this, whoops, Kayambe Grid. We're not gonna go back there, but okay, we're just gonna bring Kayambe Grid up very, very quickly for one historical reason, and I think it's important to bring this up. Kayambe Grid is the first and so far the only Nisei designed card and released card that is getting the Banhammer. And you would say, well, why? It's such a cool card, and it just doesn't do that much, or And to be honest, I think the card itself is okay-ish, but there are builds out there that are just so oppressive that Kayamba being gone is gonna just make them less oppressive, or they will be hard to beat, but they will not be like super mega absolutely annoyingly oppressive. And Kayamba going away, it's a sad thing, but we'll see. I mean, without Kayamba, the game goes on and it should be fine. If there is a good reason to bring it back, I'm pretty sure the MWL folks or the SBL folks or the Banhammers of humanity will definitely think about bringing it back. Now for runners, and yeah, again, Greg here makes the same point we already noticed as well in the spreadsheet in Solemnstone's document. Runners change a lot. There are things popping up that weren't there for a while. There are things going away that disable certain plays. I mean, Apocalypse Anarch with DDoS, no more. You can still play Apocalypse, but you will have to figure some other way in, rather than just relying on DDoSes. And that's cool. That's perfectly fine. I think it's great. So we have an Aesop's Haley. So not only, and these are important points, and this is why I'm bringing this post here up. And not only Scarcity is gone, which is great for Haley and for Aesop's decks, but also Aesop's is becoming fully legal, not restricted. So also Hyperdriver, which buffs Shapers a lot. It's just, yeah. This Haley deck is definitely an interesting direction to take. Again, I'm probably gonna test this to see how it runs, what it does, and so on. And yeah, it's exciting. Shapers are gonna get a good boost. Haley's gonna get a good boost. This is why I was also saying, I think, or I forgot to mention it back then, but like I think that Kit is gonna be great with Ngolo and with other pieces with Inversificator in the game. But Haley is gonna be strong. Cabonessa is still there, and now you'll be maybe able to pull things out of your hat faster without certain threats on the table. So yeah, Shapers getting a nice boost, and then we have Anarchs. There is an interesting point here made by Crit Hit D20. Zero is, in my opinion, the most powerful runner card currently legal in standard. And I honestly think unbanning it is a mistake, even with a ban on Clan Vengeance. Time will tell what the full consequences of this change is, but for now, Anarchs can have incredible deck thinning speed alongside the obvious synergies with Bin Breakers, and I've had worse. Good points, absolutely agreed. But it's also a fun card, and this is also what is pointed out here. Zero is incredibly fun if you have never had the chance to play with it, and I strongly encourage you to try it out if in your preferred idea of choice. Maybe not Max now that Levy is gone. Very good point. So yeah, here's the Valencia list revised from Joseki's Valencia from 2018 Nationals that I think is very strong. And yeah, and that's cool, Zero Val with some cool toys in the deck. With, of course, the Bin Breakers, because what else? It does not play Faust, even though it could. No, but yeah, again, hippos, turntables, and zeros could be cool. Yeah, could be cool. Let's take a look at it at some point later. Now, Criminals. Yeah, Criminals lost Grant, but Almakua is still in the play. Ngolo is, of course, there. Amina is super scary good. Greg does mention here Inversificator. Tapworm is going to help. Paperclip being non-restricted is super exciting. Although I still vote for Corroder. But then again, Paperclip. Criminals, they've been very strong. Well, basically 419 and Lila, very good IDs, especially with their particular archetype builds that were really hard to beat as the Corp. Geist is just Geist. As long as he has Tech Traders, he's fine. And then there are all the other runners, all the other criminals that are not getting that much use, So maybe we're going to see with those new cards, maybe we're going to see a runner popping up you haven't seen in a while, and actually in a very competitive way because of a certain build that has been enabled by the new standard ban list. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope this is going to happen. Okay, let me just very quickly catch up with the chat because I've been blabbing for a while. Oh yeah, Cable Carnage is making very good points here about net damage Jinteki. RP Shell Game, so Replicating Perfection Shell Game plus Ronin plus Dedication Ceremony if you want to try net damage Jinteki. That's a very good combo here. Kanakal Guy is commenting that Kamba enabled some very toxic decks in testing. Indeed, and this is the thing, like, testers, you've done a great job. I will keep repeating it now and after the stream and in other streams too. Thank you so much for doing this. A lot of good work went into this. Jessica being happy about Kayamba going. Unfortunate, but it's a negative card. Well, yeah, I mean, I love Wayland. Wayland is my corp, so, sniff sniff. But for a good experience for everybody playing, I am happy sacrificing this card for the foreseeable future. And indeed, like, Cable Carnage makes a very good point here. Very polarizing games, decided how early the corp draws Kayamba, and that's a bit sad, especially if, as the follow-up here states, you still have to play 25 turns to resolve the game, indeed. Or how early the runners can trash Kayamba, felt very much deal with it now or lose in many minutes time in a lot of games. Indeed, so yeah, I mean, there were some issues with that card, given all the other cards in the card pool and the way they could be put together, of course, because it's never a single card that's to blame, like in a game as big and as complex as Netrunner, it's rarely a single card that breaks the game, with the exception of Stargate, maybe. I'm just kidding, of course, but why didn't we ban Stargate? Well, anyway, yeah, so if you want to see Stargate banned, come over to the next lockdown. It's gonna happen soon. There won't be any Stargates there, I think. I'm going to talk about lockdown a bit later, sorry. So, Jessica talking also about Zero being an absurd card, but being excited to see it back and how it does for a time. Indeed, indeed, indeed. And I cannot wait for the next lockdown as well. I will have to recover my voice a bit, but you know, hopefully not. I'm not going to be losing it that much or for that long. And we're going to be talking about lockdown soon. Trust me. There's going to be some updates regarding lockdown today. Still at the end of the stream, I am going to be talking about this. But for now, I just wanted to make sure. I'm just checking something here in real time, and I probably shouldn't be. But I'm just trying to get somewhere, and that's probably not gonna work, which is a bit sad. Oh gosh. I'm gonna throw in the intermission screen and I'm gonna be back in a second, okay? Okay, I'm back. I just had a very quick technical break here because some things stopped working. Hey there, Netrunner nuts. Welcome to the stream. Cable Connor says, ban Stargate equals hello Mwanza. Well, yeah, Mwanza is awesome. We love Mwanza. Canonical Guy, thank you so much for being there in the chat today and, you know, fielding some questions and responding and helping out and whatnot. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your work on the MW as well. And yeah, have a great day yourself. We're going back to just finish this bit because, I would strongly recommend you reading this this post on Reddit, which is the Nisei ban list thoughts and preliminary deck lists. If you're on Reddit, you don't actually have to be a user of Reddit to be able to access this, so just go for it. Interesting deck ideas, interesting thinking from one of the designers in Nisei, Greg, back in the day, who gave us beautiful, wonderful cards. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts here. That's only 16 hours fresh, so you know that's fairly fresh. There will be a ton of deck building happening in the background. I'm pretty sure by a lot of people, a lot of discussion in different places. Be it StimHack Slack or StimHack forums or basically anywhere where you hang out with the people you play Netrunner with. Could be Discord as well. Could be the chat here. Oh, Netrunner Nuts with a question. So what about the big changes in general? Some good decisions from Nisei. Only been playing for a few months, so can't really tell. Yeah, so I think actually, yeah, this is a good point to make as well. And this may have been brought up earlier on, and I'm just going to bring the screen thing here again. But yeah, Netrunner Nuts as a one of the new players starting, you know, not so long ago, has a very good question here. And I mentioned this at the very, very beginning of me talking about this ban list. The difference with certain cards staying, certain cards going, that will all show in the near future or in the long run how it affects the game. People who have been playing the game for a long time have their preferences and their votes and voices in a way here decided in a way, or you know they have a lot of fuel to discuss all those changes. But from a player point of view, I really enjoy the binary nature of this change to the MWL turning into a standard ban list, because it's just so much easier to build decks. It's so much easier to think about cards. They're basically legal or not legal, and that's it. It's so much easier to remember what's there and what's not there, although it will take me a while to get used to currents being away because they were always a threat at the back of my head, and remembering that paperclip is now fully legal as opposed to restricted. That's going to be quite interesting. And remembering that film critic's gone, because all of that actually, you know, that's a big one, so it's easy for me to remember. Or remembering that Kakugo's gone, because that's a card that has affected me in many different ways, both as the corp and the runner. Shipping from Tenon, I'm a bit sad about it again, but yeah. But the changes are very clear and very clear cut. And I think this is what's going to be the strength, and Kanakal Guy brought this up as well in the chat earlier. It is the strength of this format of the ban list as opposed to the restricted and removed list, because it's going to be very easy to adjust things in the future. So whatever happens with this list, whatever the next iteration is going to be, whatever ban list number 20, whatever we're going to have, indeed, dropping the restricted cards is really a good thing for new players. A lot of thinking went into this, so I'm really curious to see the new meta in action, and also really curious to see how people think about it, what people think about it. Okay, so this is going to conclude me babbling about things. Thank you so much for all your interactions regarding this. I am going to, of course, very quickly jump into lockdown mode. So I'm just going to tell you a few things about the upcoming lockdown. We started planning for lockdown number 6 before the standard ban list dropped. And so it happens that the ban list goes into effect before the new lockdown happens. So it actually, standard has a new shape and kind of new rules in a way. I mean, not new rules, but like, yeah, a new shape, a new card pool, a refreshed card pool before lockdown 6. And some decisions were taken without that knowledge. So right now it does extend the wait time a bit, but right now, yeah, I still have to send those emails, by the way, because I'm just me and I've been busy with other things so far. But I will be asking the people responsible helping out with setting the meta for lockdown number 6 to revisit their decisions after the knowledge now that we now have of the standard ban list. This, of course, includes Asmari going away. This, of course, includes Gagarin going away. This includes Kakugo going away, which was, maybe it was already on the ban list, but now it's on the ban list for sure. So maybe people deciding what cards to ban for lockdown number 6 want to add a different card, obviously. And lockdown will be updated soon, like the information will always be running with a sign-up form and so on. And it is going to be coming soon. It has been moved as well, and for a good reason. So it was supposed to be on the 27th, but on the 27th, there is the Nisei Black Lives Matter tournament. And I'm just going to put it up on the screen there right now. It is on Always Be Running. You can sign up. It has an entry fee to it. All the proceeds go to charity to support the Black Lives Matter movement. It is a serious thing. And as a person that comes from a culture where, yeah, I mean, this is going to be a personal note now. As a person that comes from a culture where I was raised without something like a systemic racism, we just didn't have it because the world was split in a very clear-cut way, and there was just no way to consider racism in my society back then when I was growing up as a kid and as a teenager and so on. So as a person that only witnessed racism having actually gone abroad and, you know, seeing other cultures and then, you know, going online and seeing things happening online, I am a bit removed from this whole, from the whole movement and from the whole initiative. But I think it's clearly cut, you know, as a person that's also experienced enough and old enough to have seen different things and have thought about them over time. It's now or never, basically. And I think, you know, 2020, for many different reasons, will go down in history as probably the most infamous year, or the most critical or dramatic year, whatever, in different meanings of those words. But I think, and I think I wrote about it to some people online as well at some point recently, you know, it's one of those years where a lot of people realize that there are actually some things you cannot really put up with anymore, and, you know, if we don't do something with them, then it will not happen. So, or they will keep happening, the bad things. And that's it. And basically, you know, the time is now. And this is one of those movements, this is one of those initiatives, this is one of those events or phenomenons happening right now. That's a huge thing, and we are a part of it one way or another. And yeah, you get to decide what you want to support. And as a member of Nisei, and as, you know, as a player, as a community member, as a gamer, as a man, you know, as a white person living in Western Europe right now and so on, I know where I stand with this, and this is clearly, you know, it's the time to act. So I'm very glad we're doing this. Huge thanks to Reality Check or Serenity for organizing this. I will not be streaming because there's a special stream being set up. So I think I'll leave that to all the organizers involved and everything and so on. It's gonna be quite cool if it works out technically and so on, because it's gonna be quite complicated to put together. But I have my faith in the people running things behind the scenes here. It's going to be a big event. So this is happening on the 27th, and that is why lockdown is moved a day later. So we're going to be meeting on the 28th. This is already reflected on what's his name? Always Be Running, obviously. So lockdown will be coming soon, in a matter of less than 2 weeks. Geez, I really have to start putting things together, because now people will be very busy with the new ban list, and yeah, exciting times ahead. Okay, my dear folks of the chat, and not only, this is going to be me concluding this stream for today. It was an absolute pleasure to have you all with me here, and chatting about this, you know, listening to me babble, you putting your points out there, you know, having your opinions. That's exactly what this time to talk was about. We've been talking about the standard ban list 2006 or 06, the most recent development in the world of competitive Netrunner and the standard meta. I'm really excited to see the changes. I have no idea what they're gonna bring to the table. I'm very happy to partake in this experience, this new experience, this refreshed experience with you in a tournament, or as a tournament organizer, or as a participant, or whatever, or as a friendly kitchen table player. So let's do this. Let's play. Let's keep running. Let's keep testing. And let's be vocal about the cards we don't like, because, you know, accidents happen and then certain NBN IDs just disappear. Well, thank you very much for being a part of this for good over 2 hours. Whoa, okay, I need a break. I need a drink. Take it easy. I'll be back tomorrow with probably some video games, or maybe some Netrunner to test some of those decks that you've been you could see on Reddit, or maybe some of my own decks. I don't know. Everybody's welcome to the new game now, you know, to the fresh meta. Talk to you soon. Stay safe. Always be running. And I will wish you all the best and say ciao.